the request to the broken posse.
Hello and welcome to the Fitz and Healthy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Fitzgerald, and I'm joined today not only by my beautiful co-host, Cinthanie, but I'm joined by a new friend named Katie French. How you doing, Katie?
I'm doing great, Lauren. Thank you so much.
And then Cinthanie?
Hey,
what's up, girl?
Hey.
Yeah, there's the standard.
So we have this like obligatory like, hey girl, hey is like our intro on. I don't know how it happened, but it just kind of
ridiculous.
Like now we have to do it every episode.
It's quite ridiculous.
Hey girl, hey you. Quite a
yes. So for our listeners, Katie is a friend of ours who is like-minded, and I didn't realize in what way that we were like-minded, because obviously the paleo world is actually probably the first realm of nutrition that I kind of really started to learn about real nutrition, because the listeners know that I'm a medical doctor, and in medical school we get zero nutrition, like zero, maybe a couple hours, but literally out of the 4 years.
Blows my mind every time.
I know. Oh, I know. But I was introduced to what, paleo was back when it was in my first couple of years of practicing anesthesia, when I was living overseas in Japan, and they brought a CrossFit instructor over there. And that was the first time that I ever really heard the word paleo, and kind of started to, delve into what that even means. And so Katie, you are an author now. You have your own website, but now you are an author. Now, is this your first book?
Yes, this is my first book.
Sweet. So we're going to be talking about your book, but we're also going to be giving listeners easy, quick tips on how to change your nutrition, whether you're a busy mom, whether you're a single chick who wants to change your nutrition and do it fast. The audience is huge that you can help. Yes?
Yes.
So kind of let's start by telling the listeners who you are and how you got to where you are, because you have a little secret that I want you to tell the listeners.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, first of all, for having me on. I'm super excited to share my story.
Of course.
And, just share where I've been and where I'm going. So I am a litigation attorney, or rather was.
Love it.
We have that background in common.
Yes.
This career, you work so hard for it. You think it's, going to be something you're going to do for the rest of your life. And
not so much anymore.
Everyone in your life is so shocked and surprised when you tell them, hey, guess what? I'm going to be a nutritionist and a health coach, and I'm giving up my career. So
they're like, say what?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. There's absolutely still people 3 years later who still ask me about being a lawyer, and are you gonna go back to that? Are you gonna do that thing again?
Not so much.
No, not gonna.
Nope.
So yeah, that's where I started, and it makes sense that I transitioned the way that I did, because it's so hard in the context of that busy life. And I was a family law litigator. So there are very few careers that are quite as stressful, at least within the legal profession, of dealing with divorces and child custody. Everything is an emergency. You're always on call. You're going into court at the last minute. So it's such a busy and stressful career. And like you, I actually came across paleo because of CrossFit. I started CrossFitting, and for whatever reason, they go hand in hand.
Right?
Great.
They're like husband and wife.
Yeah.
They really are. And I had been gluten-free even before that. I've always been very interested in nutrition and health. I grew up as an athlete playing sports year round, and I saw the correlation between eating healthy and being able to play well. And so I noticed on days when I would eat junk food, the next day at practice, I would just not be doing it. And I did some endurance sports. So it was really important that I had proper nutrition. And so I saw that link really early on. So then as into my adulthood, and I had to start cooking for myself and all of those things. Like, okay, how
dang adulting. It's so overrated, right?
And I come from a family of really good home cooks. Everyone in my family can cook real well. So I grew up, I did grow up eating junk food. I think that's just the generation, of course. but
Yes.
we had a lot of home cooked meals, and so I was exposed to that. So, as an adult on my own, I was definitely cooking and just wanting to kind of see what's the best way for me to eat, and just always really interested in it. And I started picking up some literature and figuring out that there, are foods that cause inflammation in the body. I mean, I was learning about inflammation like maybe 10 years ago before
No
it
way.
was cool, right?
Good for you.
Wow.
Yeah, just learning that if you're eating something that your body is sensitive to, that causes inflammation in the body, that the long term, it's not going to be a good picture for you, that you're going to get sick. And every time that you eat something that your body is sensitive to, your body goes crazy with the inflammation. And if you do that consistently over a long period of time,
Disease.
that's bad news. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I promoted eating healthy. That worked really well for me. Then I started understanding the science behind it, and I found that really fascinating. So then I went gluten-free as a result of that research I had done. Hadn't yet learned about paleo. That came a couple years later when I started CrossFit, learned about what's this paleo thing. So then I started that, and I just loved my energy. I just loved how I felt when I ate paleo. So I knew that I wanted to eat paleo. And I knew that I wanted to cook. I wanted whole foods, whole food diet. But it was so hard.
Yeah.
So hard when you're that busy. I mean, I was putting in 12-hour days a lot of times. I was working on the weekends. It was hard. So I had to start thinking about, how do I make this work? Because it is important to me. It's crucial. It's what the difference between having good energy and being able to have the lifestyle that I want and the career that I want, and taking naps in the middle of the day. It's a tiring job I was doing. So what I started doing, it's nothing real new. It's just meal prepping, meal planning.
Right.
On the weeks when I plan this out, when I'm intentional about it. So intentional. I mean, that's the word I hit people over the head with, intentional. On weeks when I am intentional and I sit down and I do my meal plan and I go get my groceries, and then it was not possible for me to make dinner at night. It was not possible for me to make breakfast. I would wake up at 5 o'clock, go to the 5:30 CrossFit class, get home, shower, go to work for 12 hours, get home, go to bed. So I didn't have time to cook during the work week. It just wasn't possible.
Right.
And at that time, there was no convenience foods that were healthy whatsoever.
No.
That's gotten a lot better. So
thank goodness. Yes, for sure.
But I was cooking everything. So I realized it's not happening on the mornings. It's not happening on the weeknights. So the only time that I have is the weekends.
Right.
So I would orient my entire week around this. I would sit down and I would do my meal plan. I'd look through cookbooks. I was gluten-free. I was paleo. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of resources either. So I really had to, a lot of times I would just take like a non-gluten-free or a non-paleo recipe and adapt it.
Right.
So I started getting really interested in recipe development, and that was like real fun. And so every week I would have this process, and I would put together my shopping list. I'd go to the farmer's market and the grocery store because it was really important to me to find nutrient-dense foods. And obviously, when you get it from the farmers, the local sources, that is the best way to go.
It is. Unfortunately, a lot of people live in areas of the country that they don't have access to it. Here in Southern California, they're everywhere, and I'm so grateful for that.
And I was so spoiled in the Bay Area too.
Yes.
You're like, you go anywhere else and food's coming from California. You're like, oh.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So that was just what I did on the weekends. And then I would carve out, I'd go to the farmer's market and grocery store, then carve out at least 2 hours. Usually that's all that I could afford to carve out, and just cook my butt off for 2 hours on the weekend. And so I just started doing this, over and over again, and trying to find the recipes that were not only, the healthy recipes that I wanted, but they had to be delicious.
Yeah.
I'm just one of those people, like, I like food too much. I'm not going to ever eat something that I don't think is delicious.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, that's not worth it. That's not sustainable long-term. So that's what I work with clients on. It's like, we're not doing a bodybuilder diet. We're not doing the assembly diet of just chicken, broccoli, rice, You can do that only for so long.
Exactly. Usually the 12 weeks prep for the show.
Exactly. Yeah, your show. Exactly. So if you want to do this as a lifestyle, you have to make it satisfying and delicious. Yeah. So finding those balance points, finding what can I do quickly that makes a lot of food, gives me variety, and tastes good. And also, a lot of times I have to focus on the go meals. So my breakfast was like something I'm shoving in my face as I'm getting in the car and getting to the office.
Right.
My lunch is something I can eat at my desk while I'm in between calls. Like, it's got to be food that, like, can be eaten cold, or I can just grab it and munch on it.
So give me an example of what your nutrition looked like before you actually started being intentional with your meal prepping on the weekend. Like, what was your stereotypical Monday for you?
Meal prep has
eating?
been a part of my life for so long that
Yeah.
it's like super hard for me to remember. I think there was probably a period of time where I would eat oatmeal, because that was quick, like a instant oats or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Never been a fast food person, thankfully. Haven't had fast food probably since I was a kid. So even in my adulthood, this was something I kind of like, as soon as I moved out of the house, this was kind of part of the process.
Nice.
Eating at the dorms at college was always really easy because you just have like the hot bar and you just pick whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not sure I can go back in time. I think when I was a kid, I ate cereal, ate like Costco chocolate chip muffins, things like that.
The best.
Yeah.
But that's what I find. So maybe I can speak to what I find with my clients, what they're eating for breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're, zipping through the Starbucks drive-through and they're grabbing a scone, a pastry, a croissant. That's super typical cereal. That's so easy.
Dude, that was me in medical school and residency. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That was me in that busy stage of my life where I was working 80 to 100 hours a week and had no time to do anything.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but like an example, so we replace that with a client, let's say a client who zips through Starbucks every morning. So then, and this is one tip I love to share with people. So we'll talk about, what maybe the program that I created and why it's awesome. But if you're from a starting place, if you're not, ready for the full meal prep, let's do this. Just start with, I challenge people, just start with what is the time of day that it's hardest for you to eat healthy. So you're like, dinner, I got this. It's not that bad. I just do, a vegetable and, meat or something like that. But it's breakfast, man. Every time I reach for that sugary snack because I'm hungry and I got to get to work. And so I say, okay, let's tackle that part of your day. Or maybe it's snacking at like the 3 o'clock hour. You're bored, you're at your desk.
Right.
Candy jar, whatever it is. So you start with that. So for example, instead of going through Starbucks for breakfast and getting that muffin, just make, I love egg muffins. Those are, such a popular kind of recipe now, and they're awesome. I call it kind of like a template recipe because you can just swap out the different proteins. You can do Italian sausage, you can do turkey bacon, you can do regular bacon. And then you can swap out all the veggies. Like my favorite's probably Italian sausage, and I like putting leeks in there, and I like putting sun-dried tomatoes. With the egg. So you just have this baked egg muffin that's like packed full of protein and got some veggies in there. And I like to eat them cold even. Like they taste like pizza to me.
I love it.
One of those things where you can just, it's so easy. You take it right out of the fridge and you just eat it, and it's healthy and it's satisfying. So that's a great swap that I love to start with people. Like a lot of people have a problem with breakfast, and then you start your day with a sugary muffin and it just goes downhill from there.
Absolutely. You start getting that crash about an hour or two later, and then the circling of the toilet the rest of the day happens.
Yes, it's so true.
So you switched to paleo about how many years ago?
I'd say maybe 6 years now,
okay.
Probably.
Now, of course, your definition of paleo is different than person A, person B, person C. So when someone asks you, what does paleo mean to you? Like what's your definition? I'm interested to hear what your definition is.
Yeah. So, and I think that's such a great point that you bring up is you have to personalize it. And anybody who really ascribes to paleo will tell you that. Like it's a personalization. So there are things that I eat that are non-paleo. I'm never not gluten-free. I'm 100% gluten-free, but then sometimes I'll have some gluten-free grains. I actually eat white rice. That's something I eat a few times a week. And so that's one non-paleo thing, but I still call myself paleo, definitely. I eat gluten-free oats sometimes too. So I do find that I love to stick people on paleo. So we wipe out all of the things that you could possibly be having a reaction to that's causing lethargy. Maybe it's even causing some autoimmune disease triggers. Maybe, it's causing acne, it's causing headaches, it's causing the gamut. Like you see so many things. And then you take all of the things out that are the more likely contributors to those causes, and then you add them back in. The foundation I like is about 30 days.
Okay.
But
so to the listener who has they've heard the word paleo, but never really heard exactly what you're talking about, talk to that listener.
Okay, awesome. So I guess like digestive science is what really appeals to me about this way of eating. So just thinking about, does my body have the enzymes to break this food down? Maybe it does have the enzymes, but my digestive system is so compromised because of all the processed foods and such that I've eaten that it's having a hard time breaking down these foods. And so it's leading to any of the discomfort, or most commonly lethargy. Most people don't have an autoimmune disease or chronic illness or things like that, but a lot of people have struggle with energy. That's probably a really big one. So it's taking away all of those things. Let's just say we have person A who has energy problems. They want to take a nap at 3 p.m. every day,
right?
They wake up tired all the time, no matter how much sleep they get. So we're focusing on that person. So we're taking things out of the diet that could be contributing to that lethargy. And so most commonly, and this is where paleo comes in, that's grains. Grain's a big one, especially gluten, the protein found in wheat. And that's probably I tell people, food is not good or bad. It's not inherently good or bad. How does it make you feel?
I like that.
Said, I do have a list of food that I think is inherently bad based on science, based on research, clinical studies. So I do think that wheat is a food that enough people have a problem with that it's worth avoiding.
Yes.
Even the most healthy digestive system, it struggles.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and most people don't have the healthiest digestive system because of pollutants and our environmental toxins and our processed food that we've eaten all of our lives, grown up eating. So that's one. Refined sugar. I don't think many people are going to argue with me on that one.
No.
And so that's one that most people should avoid at all costs. Although I am guilty of having gluten-free pastries, and it's in there sometimes. And, I'm not going to act like
it was my birthday this week, and I celebrated with white chocolate bread pudding, and I didn't feel 1 ounce of guilt.
No.
But I got 2 pimples, and I woke up bloated.
Yes.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Enjoy yourself. So refined sugar.
Yep. Lots of it in that one.
Yeah. And I would also say the industrial seed and vegetable oils. So we're talking canola oil, vegetable oil, all the ones that we know cause inflammation, right?
Yeah. AKA liquid cancer. Yeah. That's what I like to call those.
Yeah. So outside of those kind of 3 big ones, I say that each individual body reacts differently. So like, for example, my sister does terribly on corn. Like her body just hates corn products.
Yeah.
I can eat corn products, no problem. Like it's not that big of a deal. But so those are the big bad ones, which I think everyone should avoid because there is enough research out there that these are too big of a risk to be taking with our food choices. But everything else outside of that, we've got dairy, we've got grains, we've got legumes. Those are all off the paleo diet technically.
Right.
But those are things that people can tolerate sometimes, that those are okay. For me, some gluten-free grains are fine. Like I said, rice. A lot of people are like, well, what reaction am I looking for? With something like rice, it's more like a blood sugar reaction, most likely. Like if you eat it, do you feel like taking a nap just right after? That's a good clue that you're clued in that your body's not reacting very well to that.
Well, and I like to remind people that I'm helping that you don't have to be diabetic to buy a blood glucometer and measure your blood sugar and actually know what it does. So you eat rice and you measure afterwards, 2 hours after. And if it's hovering high, then it means you probably should stay away from it.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great suggestion. And it's very empowering too, right? Like that's part of it. It's not about restricting. And, I've done enough nutritional counseling at this point in my life that like, I know people don't like to give things up.
No.
We are so protective of our food.
Yes.
Do not make me give that up. So it's not about giving things up. It's about empowering you to find out what is the best diet for me.
Right.
I was recently asked on a podcast that I did, what's your goal? What's your mission? And, to put it simply, it's to give people the energy and the wellness through food to live out the life that they've always dreamed of, to have the energy to be able to play with your kids after a long day at work, or be able to have the career that you want and do the networking event after work and just feel good, feel alive, feel invigorated, because you have this energy to live this life. But if you're not eating well, you're not going to have that energy.
That's what I always tell people. Imagine how you feel on your very best day that you have the most energy. Mm-hmm. And if you have never had good nutrition, you don't even know what it's like to have a lot of energy. So take that, your best day, and then multiply it by like 100.
Yes. I love like the first week with clients where that aha moment happens and they're like, I like don't have brain fog today. And I didn't even realize that was the thing. I'm like, it's because your quality of life is changing due to the choices that you're making in your nutrition. Yeah. So essentially what you do, correct me if I'm wrong, but you basically reverse engineer people's quality of life and tailor it according to their nutrition, correct?
Yeah. I mean, that's a beautiful way of putting it. It sounds very fancy and I like it.
Right? He's so smart.
Pretty sure. Yeah. So, that's my mission. That's my goal. And you ladies are right there with me. There's nothing like, getting people where they get in that sweet spot where they're like, I'm doing it. I'm eating well. I'm feeling great. I see why I need to keep this up. Like, this is so amazing. And I want to keep doing it. So that's kind of where the rest of my coaching comes into place, is like, how do I help people like dial this in? So it's one thing, I feel like people are so well-intentioned. They want to do this. And especially if you give them that opportunity to try it out and they're like, this is how I want to feel in my life. How do I do this? And then when you're busy and you need to eat all whole foods because that's what makes you feel good, but how do you do that when you don't have the time? And if you're not organized or you don't know how to cook even, and you're just, where do I start? That's so many like people. I think nowadays people are like, I know what I need to do, but where do I start? And so I really felt compelled because I watched my colleagues struggle with this.
Oh, yeah.
I literally watched, and I give this example time and time again. I watched my colleagues eat candy bars for lunch because it was the only thing that they had that was quick.
Yeah.
It would give them a little burst of energy. They knew that.
A little sugar spike.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and meanwhile, I'm coming in with my egg muffins, my collard green sandwich wraps,
They're all probably like, that girl.
Yeah. It was really fun because that's where I started my health coaching career, really, is in the office. People were like, whoa, how did you do that? How do you have time for this? Who makes the stuff for you?
Me, myself, and I. So you made the transition. You left practicing law. You're doing full-time, basically health, nutrition, fitness coaching. What made you think, I want to write a book?
Yeah.
Because that's a big endeavor. I haven't written one, but everyone that I've talked to that has written a book said that it's no easy feat. So what made you want to do that?
I wanted to reach more people. I was having great success. So it's, nutritional coaching, I love it. It's so much fun. It's so rewarding. But I noticed when I was doing the nutrition coaching, it wasn't the full picture, because I would still have clients that would eat the candy bar for lunch because they didn't have the resources, right? They hadn't put it all together yet. So I'm like, okay, I gotta like be more hands-on. So I started asking my clients, can I go into your kitchen and cook with you? Can we cook together? Can I show you how it's possible in 2 hours to make all your food for the week? And they're like, yes. I don't know if it's
love that.
Or also going to the grocery store. So grocery store visits, right? So I've actually had a few clients, a handful of clients, although I put myself out there as a cooking coach. I've had a few clients say, well, I'm not going to cook. That's not happening. Like, I don't cook. I'm not going to cook. Like, one was like a 70-year-old man. I'm like, okay, you've gotten this far in life. I'm not going to make you cook. So,
I'll let you slide. Okay.
a lot of the other ones I'll try to like coerce, but he's like,
Right.
you can't make me. I'm not going to work with you if you try. I'm like, okay, all right.
Okay.
And
But I always like to remind people, look, if you have access to the internet, you can learn how to cook. Because I used to be that person that I'm a doctor. I don't have time to do that. And it's like, no, if you want control of your nutrition, you really got to learn how to cook.
Right?
Well, it's just going back to the fact that like we have to eat to survive. So you might as well know how to fend for yourself, literally, and
Good
enjoy
point.
it in the process.
Good point.
Yeah. So this example of this 70-year-old man, I took him to the grocery store. I'm like, okay, I'm going to point out to you all of the paleo convenience foods that you can find at your local supermarket. I mean, some people, unfortunately, they don't have great supermarket choices, right?
Yeah.
It's getting so much better, even in the huge, national kind of brands.
Yeah.
It's getting good. You're getting riced cauliflower, like at like a Safeway. I'm like, this is awesome. I know. Amazing. I love that eating healthy is like becoming trendy.
Yes.
It's like a thing right now.
And online websites like thrivemarket.com. I mean, I
awesome.
love that website. Like anything that's, pantry, I get from Thrive Market for sure.
It's that's such a great company. I totally agree with that. So he literally lived off of not cooking, eating 100% paleo. So it's possible if you have the right grocery stores or you shop on Thrive Market. Totally. I mean, it's not the best way. I don't recommend it at all. You're not getting like the really
definitely
great whole
tougher
food
route.
Yeah.
But he started becoming more open to it. He actually, by the time we like a couple months in, he put a sweet potato in the microwave.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
He put some marinara sauce on it. I'm like,
No
okay,
way.
we're getting somewhere. It's awesome.
Hey, progress. That's all that matters, right?
So, but I got so off on this tangent story. I'm not exactly even sure what I was
all good.
For.
Well, but I asked you what made you decide, okay, I want to take this basically huge task on and write a book.
So I started working with clients one-on-one. Thank you for redirecting.
It's not my first rodeo, girl. Come on now.
Okay, you're the host.
Exactly.
So when I got with people in their kitchen and we did this, they're like, we can't make all that food in 2 hours. We made all that food in 2 hours. And they were set up for the whole week. And they're like, all right, I love this. So the results were amazing. I mean, it felt like I was doing what I needed to do. I'm in people. I call myself like a personal trainer for your kitchen.
I like that.
I get in your kitchen. I show you how to use your kitchen gadgets. I show you how to be efficient. I mean, that's why I call my brand Paleo Cooking Bootcamp, because I need people to understand that you need to learn how to become efficient in the kitchen.
Yes.
Right? It's so important. It's something you have to do every week. You want it to be fun, but you need to be efficient. And that's what is really daunting to people. It's like, I don't even know where to start. It's going to take me 6 hours.
Right.
And then they don't start because they're so like intimidated by that. So
right.
Boot camp denotes that you have to be efficient. And cooking is a skill. It's completely a skill. People tell me all the time, oh, I'm not a good cook and I don't know how to cook and I'll never know how to cook. It's like, no, it's a skill.
Yeah.
You don't know how to ride a bike, but you learn how to ride a bike. It's not something you're like born knowing how to do, of course.
Exactly.
It's people who are exposed to it, like I was, like have good cooks in the family and you're to that, or you learn, right?
It's called the internet. Google.
It's called YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Google and YouTube. You can literally learn anything.
Or the Paleo Cooking Bootcamp.
And there you go.
Virtually in their kitchen with them.
www.paleocookingbootcamp.com. Just saying.
Thank you. So I started doing this one-on-one in people's kitchen and just great results, amazing results. People are feeling their best. I'm doing exactly what I felt called to do. So I'm like, okay, how do I scale this up? How do I reach more people? So then I started, the Paleo Cooking Bootcamp was the name of my class, my cooking class. So
Okay.
I started that in the Bay Area
Okay.
out of a commercial kitchen in San Mateo.
Nice.
Kitchen Town, super cute. It's actually what they call like an incubator kitchen, where local producers of healthy foods go to, you know, package up, like cook and package there. So they made like paleo granola and like paleo like mammoth bars, like
Right.
a paleo energy bar. And so that's where they would go and make their products and then package them. And it was so cute. It had a cafe in the front and then these full glass doors. And then in the back, you could watch all the producers making their food while you're sitting at the cafe. And then they'd sell the producers' foods and food in the front part of the cafe. It was just such a cool place. I'm like, I want my cooking class here. This is like
one of the reasons I love California. I'm just going to put that out there.
Such cool stuff going on. And so I fell in love with that place and I'm like, I have to do my cooking classes here. This is exactly like, you know, feeding your community. Like it's so cool. So I'm like,
well, and if you're trying to appeal to people to teach them how to enjoy cooking, putting them in an environment that is aesthetically pleasing is such a good place to get them started and like stimulated to enjoy it.
So true.
Yeah, such a good point. So people would come to my cooking classes. So I wanted like, okay, how many people can I accommodate while I'm trying to get everyone to cook in 2 hours and cook all their food for the week? So that was the premise, right? So I wanted to like, that this is a system that works. It's worked for my clients. I'm not going to mess with the system. So we would, I'd bring in the groceries from the farmer's market. I had some like farmers who had contacts with, I'd call them up. I need 6 cauliflower. I need 6 broccoli.
Nice.
And they deliver the food. And then I had a partnership with Whole Foods and they deliver all the pantry items. I just like emailed them my order. They did all the food for 6 students. And then each student had their own cooking station. So like their own food processors, their own cutting boards, because what I didn't want to just like, I wanted them to be doing the cooking.
Right. You didn't want to do it for them. You wanted to empower them to do it themselves.
Exactly. So I cooked nothing in those classes. All I did was stand there, hand people ingredients and say, do this with that.
Exactly.
I had some people who are great cooks, you know, they cook for a family of 5. And I had some people who've never cooked in their life. So I'd always like demonstrate, here's how we break down an egg, here's how we break down a butternut squash.
Right.
You know, show them. And then, but they do it. And in 2 hours, they would make all their food for the week. And they had their little Tupperware, glass Tupperware, of course.
Of course.
And so they'd package everything up and they'd have their little tote bags and they'd take everything home with them for the week and they'd eat from it. They'd come back the next Sunday. I did 2 classes per Sunday. And we'd do it all over again with a new menu. So that was the boot camp. It was 30 days or 4 weeks of, you know, 1 class per week, 2 hours, show up, cook with me in this really pretty commercial kitchen, have fun, laugh, but, you know, be on task because it's a boot camp.
Right. We got lots to do in 2 hours.
We got a lot to do in 2 hours. And so it was fun and people loved that time. And I loved teaching and I loved just making sure that people were doing their meal prep. And I knew that they were going to be on track that week.
Well, and you know, 2 hours is totally doable. And I think that when people hear the word meal prep, they get meal prep, they get kind of scared because they just envision like all day on Sunday in the kitchen. And if you're intentional, you can get a whole week's worth of meal prep done in 2 hours, literally.
Absolutely. And for some people, it takes a little bit longer in the beginning.
Right?
They're learning the skills, right? If you don't know how to chop an onion, it's going to take you longer than 2 hours in the beginning.
Right.
So everyone got to start somewhere, though.
True.
So this class was awesome. Loved it. So rewarding. Like just the stories of people's transformation, energy, weight loss, like effortless. Everything was effortless. You know? And what my intention was behind this class was, here, let me give you the tools and you go and do it. Let's do this foundation course, 30 days, such a good period of time to see all those changes happen. And then you go off and you do this and for the rest of your life. And that was just kind of my thought when I first created the class. And then people just kept coming back. Came back for round 2, round 3. They're like, I just like this time. This is fun. You know, I get away from my kids.
Yeah.
And I like spending this time. So I had always kind of envisioned it becoming a digital program. So first I started with the cookbook though.
Okay.
I just didn't have the means to create a digital program. So I self-published a cookbook. And what the cookbook was a compilation of a month's worth of menus from my class. So I culled like the best ones, the recipes that I got the best feedback about, like this was really easy, this made a lot, this was really delicious. So I culled all of those recipes and I created a month's worth, so 4 weeks. And I kind of did an intro and I did really nice pictures. I hired an intern and she had like a photography major. And so she took pictures for me. So I self-published. I'm like, I want to reach more people. I know this is a good product. Like I can help people. I've helped people.
Exactly.
And so I want to publish this. So I did it myself. I designed the whole thing myself and I released it online. But I didn't have the kind of audience that I really wanted to reach. So I wanted to create a digital program that was always in the back of my mind. I was like, this is how I can really help people, because not everyone can travel to the Bay Area and come to my class and come, once a week for 4 weeks. Like that's just not possible. And
I mean, hell, I want to drive up there and take your class.
And not just people in that area could find this information and these tools useful as well.
Right.
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to reach more people. And so I started submitting my book proposal to some publishers. So it's so funny. I just literally I have so many paleo cookbooks you wouldn't believe. I think if it's been written, I have it.
Right.
So I went into all of my paleo books and paleo cookbooks and just looked at the back. Who published this? Who published this? Who published this? And just
so smart.
Massive, submitting my proposal to all these people.
Yeah.
I didn't want just any publisher. I wanted someone who understood that this way of eating, how beneficial it can be.
Absolutely.
And so, one of the callbacks that I got was from Primal Blueprint Publishing, which is Mark Sisson's brand. And he is just like, I had met him the year before at Paleo FX. I had a picture with him. His arms around me. I'm like, he's such a celebrity in my world because
he was our first celebrity to interview on this podcast. We were on Cloud Nine. We totally fangirled.
Such a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's so down there. It's such a great guy. So his partner, Brad Kearns, is the head of the publishing department there. And he called me back and he said, I really like this idea. You've taken all the guesswork out of it. This is super easy. All you do is, because in the book as well, I publish the grocery list, obviously. So the idea is take your little grocery list to the store and it's broken down by here's the produce, get all that. Here's the meat, get all that. Here's the pantry, get all that. And so you go and you get your groceries and you come home and you open the book. At that time, you open the book and you cook. And so we wanted to have people not open the book, but turn on the video. And then that's the digital program.
And that's the digital program.
It's me teaching cooking classes. And instead of, I didn't want it to be like me talking to the camera, cooking, right? So we had the idea to bring in students. Because I like to teach people. Yeah. And I wanted to show people it's not just because I'm really good at this, it's because anybody could do it.
So you truly did a virtual cooking class.
A virtual cooking class. And we did the program right now that we're releasing is 4 weeks. Again, because I love that 30-day foundational course. And so it's 4 weeks of 2-hour cooking sessions and it's with students. So I am teaching those students on camera, step by step, how do you make all your food for the week? And the menus each week are different. We've got breakfast options, lunch options, dinner options, and snack options, because snacks are really important too. Super important. And so that's kind of how the book progressed into a digital program, because there are those people that say, I just like this time. I like to be held accountable. I like to interact with not interact, but have a video turned on. Yeah. Somewhat you're interacting, but some people are just like that. That's why some people watch workout videos. Some people watch your dance videos.
Exactly.
They want that, right?
It's an experience. It takes it from just a mundane task, I have to cook, but to an experience.
Yeah, to an experience. Exactly. And the personal trainer for your kitchen, I'm just love that idea.
You need to buy that.com.
Yeah.
Kitchenpersonaltrainer.com. If it's not already taken, you need that, girl.
Okay. Don't tell anyone.
Okay. This will be released in a few weeks, so you have time to go get it. Okay.
I'll get on it. I love that. It's an experience. So that is absolutely, because I was seeing that people, they just, and I tell people as part of this program, do it with friends. Like,
Yeah.
why not? Like, that's what part of why my class was so fun, because you have people helping each other out, like next to each other. Oh no, don't do it that way, do it this way, joking around, getting to know each other. Or even rent out commercial space yourself and have your own little class and just turn on the video.
Right.
So that's what we're doing here. And it's great. The synergy between my brand and then Mark Sisson's brand. Like, of course, I want to be affiliated with that dude. He's
Of
so
course.
cohesive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Great. And so, and they, when I first talked to Brad at the publishing company, he said, like, I could see this being a video. And that had always been my dream. I'm like, yep.
You're like,
same page.
already there in my head.
Yeah. So, and I'm excited. I mean, Mark's been doing this thing for so many years. They have such a great following and just people who really believe in this way of life. And so it's just really like, there's so many people who buy into it now, because like the success stories are undeniable, but it's, where do you start? Like, step by step, how do I do this thing? Like, how do I do it? And it took me so long to develop this method, right? Like, I had to find the right recipes, the right types of recipes. What can you freeze? What's durable so it can last for the entire week?
Right.
So, I had a lot of trial and error to create this program. And then this is a tried and tested program. I've had clients go through this for 2 years now, really when I started the class, and 3 years since I started my individual coaching. So, these are recipes that really work and people go back to time and time again. And, I tell people that it's not that hard to get your food dialed in, like your meal planning dialed in, because if you have 4 to 6 meal plans, so weekly meal plans, you can eat from 4 to 6 meal plans for the rest of your life and feel like you have variety. I mean, that really is more recipes than most people cook in their homes, honestly.
So true.
Yeah. So if you have 4 meal plans that you know where they are in the grocery store and you can get them real quick, or you order them in some places now, like in the Bay Area, you can order like Instacart and they deliver your groceries. You can just click all the pictures of what you want. I mean, it couldn't be easier nowadays.
Yeah, we have so many resources.
It's so many resources. And so you get your groceries. You don't even have to go grocery shopping anymore in some markets, which is awesome. And then, you come home and you turn on your video, you cook for 2 hours, and now you know these recipes. I actually filmed a video of myself before we did this digital program of like proving to people that this can be done in 2 hours. And so I sped it up. Obviously, I didn't make people sit there over 2 hours.
Right.
But I did all the meals, and I had a clean kitchen. And I think I did like an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes. And I'm like, see, here it is. Like, you become really efficient at it. And if you have, let's say you have 6 weeks of meal plans that work great for you or your family, and you just rotate those, like week 6, if you're eating week 1 again at 7 weeks, like that'll feel like a brand new menu.
Oh yeah,
like you forget you ate those things. So
definitely.
I mean, just having it dialed in.
Tell us one of your biggest success stories.
Oh goodness. One of my favorites is a more recent one. So I've done a lot of challenges, paleo challenges, where I give people the cookbook content basically, but I walk them through it, and they, I think this was only a 14-day program. So we only did 2 rounds of this cooking, and this woman, and I would weigh them too, because I love for them to see the results if they're looking to lose weight. And I had a body fat measurement machine, and this woman was post baby, and she had a really difficult pregnancy, and she gained a lot of weight, and she was so cute. She came into me after the first week, and she said, Katie, I know I haven't lost any weight. And she was just really obsessed with losing weight. And that's not all there is to it, right? Obviously.
But that's a very common reason. It
was so real for her. And so that's what we were trying to do. I'm like, okay, this is an effortless way to lose weight. I mean, it's easy. Yeah. And so she did the cooking. She brought her friend to help her because she wasn't that good of a cook. So he helped her, and he went to the grocery store with her and got this moral support. She cooked all the food. She's like, I think I ate too much this week. I mean, I wasn't hungry. I wasn't starving. Anytime I've ever lost weight in the past, I was always hungry. So I know I ate too much. It was the food was too good.
Right.
Too good. And so I'm like, okay. I don't know. Let's see. Let's put you on the scale. I know you really want to know if you gain weight. So put her on the scale. 1 week, she'd lost 5 pounds.
Yes.
Like, this isn't right. This is wrong. The scale is broken. I'm like, this is the same scale I weighed you on exactly 7 days ago. The scale is fine. It is right. She's like, it's not possible. It's not possible. I wasn't hungry. I was satisfied with the food. I mean, I think it's one of my favorite stories because we totally met her goals. And she didn't believe it could be that easy and that satisfying. And so, of course, I'm like, this is great.
Well, it's that mindset shift that you don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to just be in pain from not eating enough to get results on the scale.
Yeah.
And of course, the scale, it's can be the devil for a lot of people because, someone at 150 pounds can look one way, at one point in their life, and then this completely different, and one is healthy and one is not, but the weight is the same. But that mindset of I just have to be miserable to lose weight and become healthy. It's wonderful. Change the nutrition that you're putting in your body, and your body will function the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. And our dieting history is to restrict fat, right? Like that. Yeah. Historically, in at least in the US, it was huge, the fat-free diets. And so people, that's still in a lot of people's minds. And so fat is so satiating. So you eat it and you're like, oh, I feel so good. I feel so full. I feel so energized. And so people are like afraid of fat, which is like the saddest thing ever. And so of course you're going to feel like you're satisfied on a high fat diet because you're satiated, you're not starving. And so I think she ended up writing on my Yelp page because, and checked in like after a month or 6 weeks or something, she had lost 19 pounds. Nice. She had stuck with it because she saw those results. She thought, I'm satisfied. I can do this. It's not too hard.
It's sustainable for life.
Sustainable. And I'm getting the results. And she was just so happy. And so I love that story because, post baby, got some extra weight. So like feeling really bad about herself, and that was so rewarding. I loved that story. And because she was so insistent too, that this doesn't work. I'm too happy.
Right. This can't be real. This can't be real.
Which is so cool because it goes to show what a shift in her paradigm and her belief system of what like she needed to do or what she needed to feel, that she had to be sad to be skinny, and it's not that way. So many people feel like you eat your salad and you're sad about it and you're going to be skinny, but it totally is not that way. So I'm sure that mental breakthrough for her was also so refreshing, and because of that, it keeps you motivated. It does make it sustainable. It makes you enjoy the process.
Yep. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I love that story.
That is awesome.
One of my favorites for
sure. So I know that there are so many people that listen that could benefit from your paleo cooking boot camp without a doubt. Talk to the listener that has been like, okay, I'm waiting for her to give me info because I'm ready to go get her help because this is exactly what I need. So walk them through what they need to do so that they can get a hold of you and go through this paleo cooking boot camp and change their life.
Definitely. So I offer the program, and I offer also one-on-one support too, though. So if you want it to be a little bit more individualized, or you have like a family, or you just have concerns about, how to get started on this, then I do individual coaching, and I can be found. My business is named Earthivore.
And spell that for everyone.
Yeah, Earth. So EARTHIVORE. So kind of like carnivore, herbivore, earthivore.
I love that.
I like it. I like it because it talks to you about, eat from the earth, nutrient dense.
It's very grounding.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey.
It is.
Yeah. So Earthivore, that's my brand. That's how you work with me individually. You can also find links to my my cookbook through that. It's sold at all major retailers. So Amazon sells it, Target, Barnes and Noble. Anywhere that books are sold, you can find my cookbook. Then our digital program, we actually have a landing page called paleocookingbootcamp.com to make it really easy on people. You can also find it through Earthivore. Of course, there's a link. And so that talks all about testimonials of people who have done this program. It talks about, what's offered, what the program comes with. You can see an outline of the online course, so you can see all the materials that you're going to have access to. There's lots of videos like purging your pantry and what kind of cooking utensils you should have, and some time-saving techniques for how to make this program even quicker and really be ready for it. You get a copy of the digital cookbook. So that's one option. They also, I'm affiliated with Primal Kitchen, which is Primal Blueprint's kind of kitchen brand. They make the Paleo mayo, the Primal Paleo mayo, and salad dressing.
So good.
All those
yummy avocado oil-based mayos instead of canola oil, liquid cancer.
Yes. So as a result, as part of like one of the packages that we're offering with this digital program is that you can receive a really nice kit of like Primal Kitchen goods, and you can receive the hard copy book, which is fun too. You can do it, on your phone or on your tablet or your computer, but you can also, have the hard copy book in front of you. So there's a few different options. And for people who are going to be, eating this way, getting that extra Primal Kitchen Kit is really cool, because I use a lot of avocado oil, and I do make recommendations for, I teach you how to make your own avocado oil based mayo. Ooh, but if you just don't have the time for it,
Primal Kitchen.
Outsourced to Primal Kitchen.
Yeah.
Can you remind us the full name of your cookbook so that they can find it?
Yeah. So making it very easy on people, it's also called Paleo Cooking Bootcamp. and the subtitle is for busy people. That's definitely the aim there. That's my background, busy professional. I also work with a lot of busy families, though. We don't want to leave that piece out, right?
Oh,
this program is specifically built in terms of portion size for 1 to 2 people.
Okay.
That's this particular program. But I've had families come through this program, lots of families, lots of parents who have multiple kids.
Just double or triple.
So that means it's kid-approved too.
It is. Oh my gosh, I have some of the best stories about I have this one that I love, and I think it was the honey garlic flank steak, and we made it in class. It's yummy, and we made it in class, and so they took it home, and their parents of 2 kids, and so apparently the young boy was sneaking into the kitchen, sneaking into the refrigerator and eating his dad's honey garlic flank steak, and they had like a little fight about it. And
no way.
That's mine. Stop eating it.
That's awesome.
And then the mom told me about that later. I'm like, oh my gosh, that just warms my heart.
For real. For real. I love it.
These are kid tested and approved recipes.
Awesome.
So that's really fun. I love that.
Well, and that just goes to show like this is a lifestyle, because there are so many quick fixes and diet pills and quick remedies, but ultimately, if you are going to change your life, you have to learn how to make it a lifestyle. And if you are at a point in your life that you are a mom or a dad, it's so much easier to make it a lifestyle if the whole family is on the same board, on the same page, and I think that that's a challenge that a lot of parents face, is they assume that, well, I change, the way I eat, but my kids won't go for it because it's not going to taste good. And I mean, come on, we just heard the last story, but you have to, and make it a family event, make the food prep. And, it might take longer than 2 hours because you got little kids helping you in the kitchen, but make it, go back to that social interaction, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sitting here thinking about how 2 hours for prep, because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, every night it takes me about 30 minutes to make dinner or 30 minutes to make lunch. And that's only 2 hours to make 7 days worth of meals. Sign me up. Okay.
Yeah. Seriously.
That time. If you think about it, honestly, 2 hours for a whole week, that is not a lot of time.
No.
Yeah, it's not. And it's doable, but it's because of the recipes, obviously,
Right. Absolutely.
So I'm taking the guesswork and I'm taking the extra time out of it for people, because there were experiences that I had when I was starting this program, building it from the ground up myself, where I'd find a recipe, or I'd write something down that I thought would be good, and then I'd go, I'd make it, and I'd come home, and then when I sat down to eat it, it was not good. You put in all this energy, and you're trying so hard, and then it doesn't end up working out. So the benefit of this program is you're only putting in the bare minimum time that it takes to get the groceries and cook the food.
Yeah.
You're taking all the guesswork out of it, all the additional time and energy that it takes to create a program like this. And, it's just my personality, like my superpower to be organized and systematic about things. So for me, it's just like, oh yeah, no big deal, but it takes
No-brainer.
a lot of time, like a lot of time. And so, I knew that. So I'm like, okay, I can share this with people, for people who aren't quite as organized as me, or logistically, they just can't get it together.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
well,
so we're going to, if we're in the show notes, we're going to have all of your websites and all of the ways that people can find you. Also, if the listener wants to go to laurenfitz.com/paleo cooking bootcamp, we will have all of those links, and you can enter to win a free book. Now, how many books we're going to give away, we don't know. But if you want to have a potential to get a free copy of the Paleo Cooking Bootcamp, go to laurenfitz.com/Paleo Cooking Bootcamp. And girl, it's been a pleasure. You're freaking awesome. It's like-minded people like us that will truly fight the big fight against the big food companies like the McDonald's, the Taco Bells, the Coca-Cola, because ultimately, if us like-minded people don't band together, they're going to win. And we can't, our health is too important to just sit aside and just watch it happen. So
we are the frontier men and women who
most
are
definitely
grassroots.
Exactly. And every episode of the Fitz and Healthy podcast, we end with our mantra, which is a really important mantra that always connects with no matter what the topic is. Cinthanie, will you wrap this up for us, please?
You are a good person and you deserve good things to happen to you.
Love it.
Amen. Amen. Thank you guys so much. Katie, you are amazing. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the listeners and spending this day with us. We hope that you have a Fitz and Healthy day. We'll see you next time. Bye. Make sure that you find us on social media. You can find Cinthanie on Instagram and Facebook at Cinthanie. So that's CINTHANIE, and on Snapchat at Cinthanie P. And find me on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at Club Fitz Fitness. Remember, that's FITZ Fitness. And on Snapchat, just at Club Fitz. I appreciate your time listening so much. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fitz and Healthy podcast, can you please go do me a favor and go subscribe at whatever platform that it is that you listen to podcasts. Leave a review. We read every single review, and we appreciate the time that you take to leave your thoughts and opinions. Now, also remember, while I am a medical doctor, the information I provide here is not intended to provide medical advice or a professional diagnosis, opinion, treatment, or services to you or to any other individual. I am providing general information for educational and informational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for medical or professional care. You should not use this information in place of a visit, call, consultation, or the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. The information I share is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or medical condition. If you believe you have a medical emergency, just call 911 immediately or your physician. Now, enough of that medical legal jargon. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I appreciate your time. Now, go live a Fitz and Healthy life.